Apparently that the Merlin girl, apparently she has a sprite in the not uncensored. This is the uncensored, in the all ages version, which tells me she's very important. But at the same time, why wouldn't they give her a sprite in the first place? Which tells me she's not important. But I bet you she is important. But why wouldn't they do a sprite? Doesn't make sense. Whenever a character has a sprite, maybe they want us to make you not suspect anything. Maybe. Every once in a while, I'd receive special lessons directly from Heath Oslo himself.
いいかい、ユージ。暗殺者というとどうしても重火器を使うイメージがある。だがそれはナンセンスだと思わないかい？
I mean, he changed his outfit for this too. Oh God. Field stripping was the topic of the lesson that day. Although, oh God, after thoroughly disassembling an automatic rifle, I was to line up its pieces neatly on the ground and then accurately reassemble them as quickly as possible. Oslo had begun to speak as I quietly said at the task.
武器を持った相手の対処法として一応は教えるが、君は銃なんて無粋なものを使う必要はない。弾がなくなれば殴るぐらいしか使い物にならないような道具に依存するな。やはり刃物だよ。いや、刃物である必要すらない。もっと単純に尖っているものなら何でもいいんだ。
Yeah, you can use anything sharp. I'm learning. With those words, Heath Oslo pulled me away from the lesson to train in knife combat, his own personal specialty. Uh-oh, dude. The most primitive method of murder, of course. The means to experience the sensation of taking a life in the most direct possible way. He drilled that knowledge into me with single-minded zeal. And as we trained, he laid bare my mental weakness as well.
Yuuji, 君はこの世の中で生きていくには優しすぎるんだ。
Okay, here's just a little detour. We know he's still a thing. He's still at large, even after Yuuji's story and, in the present day. So, what if, after, I don't know, what if there was, some showdown or something, and it'd be poetic that, even, Yuuji, for whatever reason, ends up killing Oslo with a knife. Oh, that'd be I just thought of that. That'd be pretty awesome, though. Just because it's well, you gave me all these skills and stuff, but this is still pretty fucked up, And I'm just gonna... Anywho, I'm just gonna... Brain, stop working! Okay.
無意識の君。君の本能はあんなにも息汚いというのに、どうしてそれを隠してしまうんだい？殺さなければ殺される。だから殺される前に殺す。それが唯一のルールだ。
I'll live by that rule very well, thank you.
死にたくなければ殺せ。一歩でも世の中に出れば周りは敵だらけだ。家族ですら敵だった君だ。理解できないわけじゃないだろ。
Okay, now hold on there. Really, my dad was the enemy, okay? Everyone else was just an innocent bystander.
そして君は今まで何度も敵を殺すことで生き残ってきた。生き残ったものが正義だ。生きることに意味なんてない。殺すことにこそ意味がある。
God, this is just,
君の味方は私だけだ。私以外のものは全てが敵だ。殺される前に殺せ。生きて私のところへ帰ってこい。
don't...
それだけだ。
Don't AS...
簡単だろ?
No, stop. Don't ASMR me right now. His words were a curse laid carefully on my heart. There was no contact with the outside. No information entered that place. Not truth. Not even lies. And at the center of this sealed-off little world, there was always Heath Oslo. His words were absolute, unquestionable, and I was a faithful toy that moved mechanically in response to his orders. No, take me away. At some point, I began receiving experimental medications. At a military research lab Oslo apparently owned. As I grew used to fending for myself in the harsh environment of the training camp, I grew stronger, tougher in mind and body, faster. In the mountain winter, I learned the rough fortitude necessary to eat when there was no food to be had. From my lessons, I learned how to make bombs that couldn't easily be defused. All my skills have trained me for the present. I learned how to parachute and scuba dive so I could infiltrate any target under any circumstances. And locked inside a wooden box with nothing but a single cup of water, I learned how to endure suffering. That's fucked up. This is all very, what's the word I'm looking for? Lost it. When my battered body reached its limits, they used drugs to force me back to my feet. Ooh. Killing people efficiently requires thorough knowledge of how the human body's constructed. So naturally, my lessons also included the dissection of human corpses. Gross. Heath Oslo seemed pleased with my efforts.
いいぞユージ、君は本当に可愛いやつだ。君のクズ親父と知り合ってよかったと本当にそう思うよ。君を手に入れてよかった、風見ユージ。君は最高だ。
I'm telling you, man, I feel like these skills you're giving me are gonna bite you in the ass one day. A lot. Clapping his hands together, Oslo lavished praise on me. Being complimented made me happy. It might have been the first time I heard words like that from anyone other than my sister or mother. I'd never been praised by an adult man before, not even once, because my dad was the worst piece of scum, and I'm glad he's dead. Jesus Christ, Yuuji. Even my own father hadn't given me a single compliment. Before I knew it, I was fighting back tears. No, to be perfectly honest, Oslo's words had become a source of emotional support for me at the time. I wanted to be praised. With that simple motivation, I threw myself into my tasks. This was all I was good for. There wasn't anything else about me worth complimenting. It was the only way I could be useful. Not that I understood how I was being useful or for what purpose. If I tried to think about it, my head would start hurting. Might have had something to do with those new drugs Oslo was injecting me with. Whatever the case, after about 6 months at the school, I was no longer worrying myself too much about the details. And we are...
風見ユージの成績がいいようだね。
According to the data gathered by the technicians at Oslo's research facility, I produced above average results in a remarkably brief period of time because I am prime human specimen. The researchers seemed to believe it was an effect of the experimental drugs they had administered, but Oslo himself was convinced my natural talent had simply come to the surface. Yes, and probably the drugs too. Either way, they decided I was ready for the final test, the so-called graduation exam. Oh, jeez. On that day, I was presented with my final lesson in hand-to-hand combat. The test was extremely simple. I'd pass as long as I brought about the death of my opponent. Oh no, there weren't any other rules. And in an ugly twist of fate, that opponent was Marn. Oh no, not Merlin. I shouldn't be joking, but look, this is how I cope. No, fate probably wasn't involved. In retrospect, I imagine they deliberately paired us off with our most intimate friend in the facility. It's fucked up. As a way of forcing us to gain the resolve to sacrifice everything for our objective. In this place, when you had a bad feeling about something, it was usually realized. That was how it was designed.
肉親ですらその手で葬った君だ。今さら顔見知りの一人ぐらい殺したところでどうということはないだろう?
But this is like the only one who supported me. Not like, as a friend. It was true enough. No use trying to lie to myself. I was a killer. In the first place, it wasn't exactly uncommon for students to die over the course of their training, not to mention the casualties from spontaneous fights and punishments inflicted up by groups of fellow students. Just the previous week, there'd been a guy who was bullied so badly over his poor results that he hung himself in the practice room. Oh God. And then there was the new kid who made a habit of wandering the halls at night, moaning loudly. Guess he got the attention of our veterans. Someone found him in the bathroom one morning with his face still submerged in the toilet. It is this kind of place. In this place, the wall separating life from death was thin and fragile. It's basically non-existent. But even so, killing someone we'd lived with for months in cold blood was a different story. Even if we didn't have anything in the way of team spirit, murdering a person you've gotten to know is even more difficult than you might imagine. Therefore, our instructors gave all the graduation candidates a stimulant, telling us it was a drug that would sharpen our kinetic vision and boost our reflexes. The results varied widely. Some people became so agitated they could barely sit still, snapping into pointless rages over things that normally wouldn't bother them, snarling, curses, and death threats at the slightest provocation. But others, overloaded with sensory excitement, actually seemed unnaturally calm. I suppose I was in the latter group, and Marin, my opponent, was definitely in the former. Oh. In any case, they said I needed to kill her if I wanted to graduate, so that was what I'd have to do. Don't do it. Yuuji, stop. I mean, we have to. Focusing as best I could through the drug-induced haze, I faced off against my classmate. Oh no. As the two of us faced off, I couldn't find anything to say to the person I was about to fight to the death. Maybe it was the same for Marin, or maybe she no longer even cared. Most likely it was the latter. Even if the girl standing in front of me was technically Marin, something else was controlling her mind now. The drugs. Her eyes darting restlessly back and forth. Probably weren't seeing anything more than an enemy in front of her. Oh, Jesus. Marin breathed in rough, quick gasps as if to expel the heat gathering inside her body. It was obvious at a glance how agitated she was. There was no referee for this match. No instructor to shout begin or that's enough. It wouldn't end until one of us was dead. Oh God. Oh Jesus. Spitting out her red-hot anger in a scream, Marin suddenly threw herself forward. Too bad I'm like transforming into occupation student, but I'm not quite there yet. She surged toward me, her limbs outstretched to the limit, cutting through the air. She put her weight into her left leg, twisting the upper half of her body to balance herself. She swung her right leg with all her strength, viciously, not even considering the possibility of a counterattack. I could see all of it, every movement flowing into the next, as if I was watching a slow-motion film. Marin's knee shot out, and in the next moment her leg curved upward, toe stretching toward my face. Not an easy kick to defend, given that quick transition from a straightforward jab to an arcing trajectory, but I'd seen it many times in training. Her precise execution actually made it easier to anticipate. Okay, oh God. I raised my guard, shielding my face, chin, and neck. Marin's right leg instantly smacked against my crossed arms. Ugh! Ugh! Marin's kick was heavier than I'd expected. Her pivoted leg turned sharply in the opposite direction with the force of delivering it. My arm screamed from the impact. Oh yeah, it's okay. Oh, I'm getting beat up. In the same instant, she twisted her leg violently to slip around my defense, striking the back of my head with her toes. Oh Jesus! For a moment, my vision went blurry. I thought I was the serene, calm one with the drugs. This is bullshit. I should be able to see this shit coming a mile away. Okay, probably another effect of the drugs. Marin showed absolutely no hesitation, even delivering a kick that could easily have left her leg broken and useless. See, she's got the rage and the just no inhibitors, no nothing. It's all just go all out. Whereas us, we have the unnatural calm, which is not helping us right now. But it wasn't anything worth worrying about. In physical strength, reaction, speed, and tactical judgment alike, I was significantly superior to Marin. I just had to take her first attack, and then land an accurate counter. That was all. Sorry about this, Marin. The kick had left her perched on one awkwardly planted leg. An apology to the young woman who'd been so kind to me, echoing through my mind. I twisted my body and drove my right knee at her before she could regain her balance. Ooh! My kneecap slammed into Marin's face. Something gave way. I must have shattered her nasal bones. Ooh. Ooh, stimulated by the impact, I felt a wave of energy surge through every muscle in my body. Oh yeah. It was exhilarating, wasn't it? Marin's body swayed and wobbled like a spinning top running out of momentum. If she collapsed now, it'd be easy enough to finish this. She couldn't be thinking too clearly after taking that sort of hit to the head. There wasn't much risk of her luring me in and going for a grappling move. And yet... Oh, ooh. Marin didn't fall. With a fierce scream, she forcibly tied her fading consciousness to reality through sheer force of will. Oh, damn it. I don't know why I'm like adult Yuuji now. I don't understand. Her arm lashed out reflexively, lightly grazing my right temple. Ooh, the graze! It was such a wild lunge that it was hard to imagine how she expected to hit me. Maybe she was moving on pure instinct by now. Just like before, there was no sign she was even considering defense. Oh no, she's all attack. I spun easily around to her unguarded right flank and landed another knee strike. Ooh! Oh! Oh, God Jesus. The blow landed so deeply I could feel Marin's kidney twitch and curl up inside her. Oh! Oh! Her abdominal muscles contracted sharply. It was obvious she hadn't been remotely prepared to take that hit. A kick like that hurts so badly it feels like someone just jabbed a knife right into your internal organs. I've experienced it myself more than once. The instant that pain registers, the world goes white. Pure white, in fact. You instinctively grab your side and fall to your knees. If your kidneys swell up from the blow, you'll quickly develop a severe See, there's some words I just can't say. Even though I know exactly what they are, I just... Deficiency. As the nerves in your internal organs are paralyzed, even breathing becomes difficult. Your face goes deadly pale from psychosis. Cyanosis, not psychosis, that's different. And in reality, Marin was already gasping for breath. Her mouth opened wide. It didn't help that her nasal cavity was completely blocked with blood. Instinctively stooped over to protect her stomach. Chin thrust out defensively as she gulped down oxygen. The girl almost seemed to be asking for a finishing blow. And, well, that's, I'll put you out of your misery. With that thought running through my mind, I landed a right hook to Marin's chin. Her head rocked on the axis of her neck like a dummy. The massive brain cells floating inside her skull jolted wildly back and forth. Marin's eyes instantly spun backward in their sockets. She had to be unconscious, but she still didn't fall. What the hell? Oh, God. Rests relentlessly. I dove a second punch into her chin, then a third. But even so, Marin wouldn't go down. Tough girl! Her mouth hung open limply. The punches might have dislocated her jaw. Spittle flowed down her chin. Her eyes, completely unfocused, spun aimlessly around, but Marin didn't fall. God damn it! Somehow, she must have been clinging onto one last scrap of willpower, knowing that she'd die if her knees touched the ground. No matter how she reeled and swayed, Marin stayed on her feet. If hitting won't do it, I'll just throw her off balance. That inhuman toughness was starting to frighten me, resisting the urge to scream. I reached up and shoved heavily against Marin's shoulders, trying to push her to the ground. In that moment, I found myself looking straight into her face. Her battered, swollen, ghastly face, dark with bruises, red with blood. That face woke up something that had been lying latent inside me, and suddenly my body wasn't moving like I wanted it to. No! That face! I'd seen that face before. No! It was the face of my mother, hanging from the ceiling. Someone had stabbed a rod of ice into the center of my heart. I trembled uncontrollably at the sudden cold inside me. What am I doing? Hitting a woman until she looks like this? How am I any different from him? No! And as the spectators screamed for me to kill, I flashed vividly back to the moment when I'd struck my father dead. I couldn't move. My knees shook like branches in the wind. I wanted to fall to the ground and curl up in a ball. Finally, crouching where I stood, I abandoned the fight entirely. It was no good. I was no good. I couldn't kill her. It was kill or be killed, but I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. Oh. That is horrifying. Ow. I guess we'll die. We're fine. Ugh! So, we can't do it, but she might open up something inside of us that might actually make us out. As Martin's frenzied laughter rang out, the situation reversed completely. Why did I say it twice? My deranged, drugged classmate kicked and punched me countless times, drunk on one-sided violence, and I lay there enduring the pain, so overwhelming I thought my skin would burst from its intensity. This is my punishment. This is what I deserve for hurting a woman. I was used to pain. All I had to do was endure it, and it would end eventually. In the end, I couldn't do anything else. Story of my life. Resigned to my fate, passively accepting the rain of blows, I heard a familiar voice shouting out from somewhere far away.
どうしたユージ？どうせ父親を殺した親殺しだろ？今さら何人殺そうが同じことだ。立って戦え！
I mean, there's deeper issues going on here than just, you already killed before, you could do it again. You stupid. Oslo was shrieking from the crowd, ordering me to stand. But not even he could move me now.
なんてこった。まったくユージ、君ってやつは。
Watching Marin beat me to the verge of death, Oslo pinched the corners of his eyes in obvious disappointment. Oh, good. Is this my shitty room? Beaten senseless by my classmate, who'd completely lost any restraint in the haze of her drug-induced madness, I somehow managed to survive, but with even breathing a struggle, much less standing on two legs. I was unceremoniously tossed into the school's underground medical facility. Okay, so this isn't my room. This is the... Oh, God. That name might give you the wrong impression. The place was basically a dungeon where they left the severely wounded to rot. Could just as well have called it a storage room for future corpses. That's what it sounds like. Lying flat on the floor, I felt the cold concrete quickly absorbing the heat from my inflamed skin. I like how I wasn't even put in bed. I'm just on the floor. It felt wonderful. It's probably for the best. Even so, it occurred to me that if I let myself fall asleep like this, I'd most certainly never wake up again. Doesn't sound so bad. If I died down here, Martin would get to graduate. It seemed a little pathetic to be searching for the meaning in my defeat, but at the very least, Martin would get out of this insane place. I had to focus on that fact, or my own existence would become so completely pointless I might just go crazy. And so I lay here, on the cold floor. I didn't receive any real treatment down there. I figured we weren't going to receive anything down there. I was just lying on the ground like a discarded rag when Marin came to visit me. having regained her sanity when the effect of the drugs faded. A few hours must have passed by that point. Oh no, the music, why? Waking up to the sensation of a damp, hot towel scrubbing my face, I was surprised to find that my right eye wouldn't open. In fact, I couldn't even lift my face from the ground. My blood had congealed around me, literally gluing my skin and hair to the concrete. Ugh.
本当にごめんなさい。
Mumbling words of apology, Marn carefully wiped my face with a towel, cleaning off the hardened blood. Sleeping on the bare floor must have severely lowered my body temperature. The hot fabric felt incredibly good. As she tended to my injuries, Marn sniffled quietly and spoke again.
どうしてこんなことになっちゃったんだろうね。
It was the last thing I wanted to hear. Those were the same words my mother had left behind in her suicide note. Yeah, I was... Oof. Words of surrender, offering nothing but despair and weakness. But it's not like I had an answer to them, so I responded only with silence. I don't know how Marin interpreted my attitude. Whatever the case, she returned to that basement room the next day and the next, quietly treating my injuries as if it was her duty.
調子はどう？何か食べられそう？
I'm not hungry.
少しでも何か食べないと怪我が治らないよ。胃が空っぽのままじゃ薬も飲めないし。
I don't want any medicine either.
どうして？
It's ridiculously bitter.
バカね。薬が苦いのは当たり前でしょ。安心して、毒じゃないわ。ほら、私が飲んでみせるから。
No, don't do it. No, stop. With that, Martin swallowed a mouthful of the liquid medicine she'd brought for me.
何これ、本当に苦い。
You fucking... I told you so. Stupid.
本当、ひどい味ね。でも、飲めば炎症が治まって、ちゃんと眠れるようになるから、飲んで。あと、食事も。ほら、口を開けて。
I'll feed myself.
そう言って、この前も全然食べなかったじゃない。一人じゃ起き上がることもできないくせに。いいから口を開けるのよ。ほら。
How many days had passed since Marn's first visit to the basement? I knew it! She was really important. It might have been the first time I talked so much with another person since I arrived at the school. The place was full of people with bitter and traumatic pasts, just like me. So the unspoken rule was to keep your distance. Our private lives and personal stories were off limits. Of course, Marn had absolutely no memories of the past to begin with. That actually made it easier to get by here. It was completely normal to her, and she didn't seem to be bothered by it. After examining my injuries in silence for a few minutes, Marn suddenly asked me a question. I hope her injuries are... I destroyed her face. Like...
あなたは、どうしてあんな男に拾われたの？
Oh, don't make me stop to... I didn't understand. Why ask about my circumstances now after all this time? The question felt so strange that I couldn't find anything to say. What would it change if I told you, Marn? Why does it matter to you? You don't even know the first thing about yourself. Maybe you forgot about the past because it was too painful to remember. Sounds pretty good to me. I'll go with that too. I don't even want to remember. It wasn't as if anything good would come from remembering. Talking wasn't going to undo what it all was already done. My life was never going to change unless I changed it myself.
私ね、近いうちにこの学校を卒業することになったの。
Oh, so she did. Okay. Really? Good for you.
でも、本当に良かったのかな。
Leaving this place would mean working as a pawn of Oslo. Wouldn't you have more freedom not being stuck in this terrorism school? But no matter what was waiting for us, I figured it had to be better than aimlessly circling around the sewer of a place for the rest of our lives. Don't worry about me. Once you get out of this place, try just to forget about me. And everything else that happened here. Whatever they make you do, that should make it a lot easier.
私、戦うのは苦手。人を傷つけないで生きていければ、それが一番いいのにね。
So does everyone else. When you hurt people, you might get hurt. When you kill people, you might get killed. Nobody wants to live in a world where the only options are to take a life or lose your own. But if you want to survive, you can't avert your eyes. The people who run away from reality die first. The way I'd broken down after seeing my mother and Marin's bloody face was a good case in point.
じゃあ、また来るから。
With those words, Marin left the basement, but she didn't visit me the next day. I figured she was just going to be gone. She didn't come the day after that either, or even the day after that. At that point, I finally understood. Marin had graduated and left this place behind. Those words hadn't been a casual goodbye. Their real meaning was, if I survive, I'll come see you again. I wonder if we'll see her later down the line. I think it was about 2 weeks or so after Marin left. With my wounds mostly healed, I was officially upgraded from critical to stable condition. That meant I was authorized to leave the basement and admit myself to the medical wing. It was there that I heard the news.
あの子ならね、もう死んじゃったよ。それなりにいい成績だったから期待はしていたんだけどね。初めての仕事でつまらない失敗をしちゃったんだって。残念なことだよね。
So remember when I said, I wonder if we can meet her later down the line? Feels real bad.
っていうかさ、卒業してすぐに死なれちゃうと、うちの教育に問題があったんじゃないかって、いろいろと上から言われてすごく面倒なんだよね。あんたもさ、ここを出て行った後は、しばらくは死なないことだけに気をつけてよ。マジで迷惑だからさ。
Marin was dead. It's not like this sort of thing hadn't happened before. New people were always coming in, only to disappear without warning. She was just one of many. But even so, maybe if I'd beaten Marin down in that final test and graduated in her place, she wouldn't have had to die like this. I couldn't help being a little bothered by that. It's because you were so nice to me. Maybe that was the real reason Marin was gone. Every woman who treated me kindly ended up dead. I couldn't let myself rely on anyone ever again. The more I thought about it, the more I convinced myself of that. You know, we're just falling deeper into depression. By the time I received permission to discharge myself, there was a completely different group of trainees in the lodging facilities. Haha, I'm the veteran here! I'd been recuperating for so long that the other survivors from my class had finished their term and graduated. There wasn't a single familiar face left. Normally, I should have jumped right back into training to make up for the month I'd spent recuperating, but the instructors had already started over with the next generation of students. And it's not like they were going to take the time to offer me personalized lessons. So what? I'm just fucked? So while the others drilled, I was simply assigned self-study under the name of personal training. Hey, fuck you! I'll self-study, and I'll do way better than the rest of you! To be honest, though, it wasn't much of a training regimen. They basically just ignored me and let me do whatever I wanted. Oh, sweet! I kept a regular running schedule in order to regain my endurance. The running! Sometimes getting in a little live firing practice to maintain my eyesight, but otherwise didn't do much of anything. Even when I was just walking around aimlessly, the instructors turned a blind eye. Nobody ever bothered chewing me out anymore. Haha, I'm invulnerable. In fact, sometimes they'd even nod vaguely in my direction and say, "Keep at it, kid." Not only did the instructors seem to know me, they treated me with respect and didn't ask me to participate in the training. I spent most of my time wandering the halls for no apparent reason. So, understandably enough, the new guys mostly kept their distance, shooting me wary looks that read, "Who the hell is this guy supposed to be?" Hey, I'm the best damn person here. Finally, 2 months after my first attempt, I was given another chance at graduation. For my second exam, I was tasked with carrying out an actual assassination in the field. Really? For all intents and purposes, it was a preemptive graduation and immediate deployment. Give me my target. The target was one of 3 judges who would be presiding over an international trial involving Heath Oslo's suspected crimes in various foreign countries. Of course it is. To put it simply, I was there to cover Oslo's ass by killing a man who couldn't be swayed by money. Ah, we're killing a nice man. Hooray. After arriving in Canada, I slipped into America by boat, then proceeded to my objective under the identity of a Chinese woman named Shu Luhan. For some time, I conducted surveillance of the hotel where the judge was scheduled to stay. Yes. And on the night of the mission, I walked inside and headed for the reception desk, dressed in female clothing to match my falsified identity. Okay, shit. Hello! No, shit, I'm here to meet Mr. Glenn McPherson. Could you please let him know I've arrived? He still sounds dead inside.
ホテルに着くなり早速か。あの男、毎度のこととはいえ、全く。
I don't know exactly what the man behind the desk assumed about me, but seems there were little rumors the judge was a pedophile with a taste for little girls. Oh, okay, he's not a good person. Wee woo. Probably the reason I'd been chosen for this job in the first place. I'd only learned of this after the fact, but in reality, Glenn McPherson wasn't a child abuser or a patron of prostitutes. He was simply a soft-hearted man with a habit of being charitable to orphans and homeless children. Aw, he was a nice guy! Man, my feelings keep changing. That behavior had been misinterpreted and distorted by hearsay, leading some misguided sorts to send young girls over to his hotel in hopes of gaining influence. Whenever this happened, the judge would let the visitors into his room, then have them make him a pot of tea, then send them off with some pocket money. He was a genuinely good-hearted man. Oslo probably knew all this and realized it could be used against him. When I knocked on McPherson's... Is it McPherson? I'm just going to say McPherson. McPherson's door, he gave me a quick once-over and lightly frisked me for weapons, then willingly invited me inside. I looked around the room nervously, his voice gentle. The judge told me not to worry, that he wouldn't do anything to me. After a quick scan of my surroundings, I took a ballpoint pen from the end table near the entrance and hid it in the sleeve of my dress. Ah, the murder weapon. McPherson lowered himself heavily onto the sofa and asked if I'd make some tea. I silently nodded. When it was ready, I poured carefully from the teapot that had been sitting out on the table and carried a single steaming cup to the judge. Here you go, Mr. McPherson.
ありがとう。
Oh, God. The judge slowly savored the scent of the tea, then closed his eyes to take a sip. And in that moment, I took action! My mind was utterly blank. Doing this was everything. It was as simple as that. Pulling the golden pen from my sleeve, I stabbed it up through McPherson's jaw and into his brainstem. Holy shit! Oh. Guess we can't have nice people in the world. Blood and tea spurted from the judge's half-open mouth. He quickly stopped moving. Just to be sure, I twisted the ballpoint in the wound until I was confident the brainstem was completely destroyed. When I pulled the pen out, blood spouted McPherson's jaw like a fountain. Ugh. It was a simple enough job. I almost felt like it'd been a waste of time to fly me all the way over here to do it. Surely anyone could have managed this. With my task complete, I headed for the kitchen, crawled into the garbage chute in the wall, and escaped down into the trash facility in the basement. Job well
たった
done.
今現地からの報告が入りました。風見雄二が暗殺を終え無事に戻ったようです。身柄を回収してこちらへ戻ってきます。
ほら見ろ、ユージは必ずうまくやるとそう言っただろう。それでユージの様子はどうなんだ？
Just excellent.
今のところはうまく感情をコントロールできているようです。自殺衝動や動揺も見られません。
大丈夫だ、問題ない。あいつは命令がなければ自殺もできやしないさ。そういう風に育てられているし、そういう風に訓練してきたんだ。暴れそうになったら子守歌を聴かせてやればおとなしくなるさ。
Oh god, the fucking thing.
嬉しそうですね。
一時は失望もしたが、やはりお気に入りだからね。出来の悪い手のかかる子ほど可愛いと言うだろう。
Is that a saying? I know.
やっぱりユージは最高だ。拾っておいて本当によかった。はあ、帰ってきたらあの子に何かかっこいいコードネームをつけてやろう。どんなのがいいと思う？
I only have one code name.
考えておきます。
You better make it cool. Oh
そ
Jesus.
の時の判事の暗殺事件を担当したのは、当時アメリカの情報局に籍を置いていた私だったわ。
Ooh. I know. Asuka told me about that investigation. Said the CIA was calling me ETO1 back then. Short for Enfant Terrible. Oh.
子供を使ったテロや暗殺が問題視されていた当時、まだ新品少尉だった私に与えられた仕事は、その ET01 の調査だったわ。
God. Even that's a cool name. Oh jeez. Oh no. These ladies.
ねえ、この資料ってまだ続くの？もうこれ以上は読まない方がいいんじゃん。
Ladies, there's way more to this.
風見くんの過去に何があったのか知りたいと言ったのはあなたでしょ？
そりゃそうなんだけど、なんか辛くなってきたっていうか、胸が苦しくなってきた。
I mean, you could be like, I want to know about his backstory and his past, but does that really prepare you for what may or may not be in the story?
ユージ、人を殺しちゃったんだ。
You're damn right I have.
まあ、最初に面見た時から、確実に何人かやってんだろうなとは思ってたけど、こうして改めて事実を突きつけられるとちょっとへこむのよさ。だからお兄ちゃんはレンジャーごっこしてる時も、これは自分の身を守るための手段だってのをずっと強調してたのね。
That's right, Makina. Come here. It's just...
それなのに、かっこいいとか言ってキャッキャ言いながらはしゃいでた自分がちょっと恥ずかしいのよさ。
状況だけを見れば風見さんは被害者です。本来であれば守られるべき立場の子供が守ってもらえる親もなく、ただひたすら何かから逃げ回るような生活。挙句の果てにそんな自分を拾ったのは国際的なテロリスト。まともでいろという方が無理な相談です。
There is no staying there's no staying normal in that case.
考えて考えるだけ無駄だと思える状況でもさらに考えて、いくら考えても出ない答えに頭が真っ白になる頃には、何か別の新しいルールというか これまでの自分を罰するような価値基準を見つけ出して、それに従うしかなかったのではないでしょうか。
たくさんの人を犠牲にしてしまって、それでも生きなければいけない理由か。確かにわかる気はする。
Oh.
私はこの時のユージに何もしてあげられなかったのが悔しいよ。言っても仕方がないのは自分でも分かってるけど、それでもどうしてこの時私はユージのそばにいてあげられなかったんだろうって思うと悔しくて涙が出るよ。
I mean, no one could have done anything at that point.
それはあなたの日記を読んだ風見くんも同じことを思ったでしょうね。
Oh no.
あの時こうしていればなんてのは今の自分だから思えるのよ。そしてそれはこの世で一番どうしようもなくて一番くだらない後悔。今の風見くんを見てごらんなさい。不器用だけれど日々を後悔しないように力強く生きているでしょ。いろいろと知識が偏っているせいか強引だったり常識外れだったりすることもあるけれど、それでも明日の自分をがっかりさせないように今日をしっかりと生きている。面倒になって悩むのをやめた時、辛くなって考えるのをやめた時、人は生きる意味を見失っていろいろなものがどうでもよくなる。その結果がどうなるか自分が一番よくわかっているから、彼は悩み続けながらも強く生きているのよ。
誰も守ってなんかくれないから。
そういうこと。生きる意味、元をたどれば生まれてきた意味、そんなもの最初からないって分かっていても、それを探し続けることが生きるってことなんじゃないかしら。
True.
ユージはどうして自殺しなかったの？
Jesus, that's a question.
みちる
Jesus Christ. And it's more it's significant that Michiru asked that question.
分かってる。言い過ぎてるのは分かってる。でも私はその理由が知りたいのよ。だって死ねば全部終わるんだよ。何もかも全部終わり。それが一番楽じゃない。
Yeah, Michiru. Isn't that how it is, huh? God, knowing her past too.
そりゃ怖いよ。死ぬのは怖い。でも悪いこともいいことも全部終わり。何もかもナッシング。死ぬ勇気さえあれば全部終わる。後のことなんて知ったこっちゃないわよ。死にたい死にたいって言ってるだけの弱い人間と違って、強く生きることができる人間なら強く死ぬこともできるでしょ。だらだらと生きているぐらいなら死ねばいいのよ。
Well, it like when you die, it's like you, to me it's always just like you gave up, right? When it's just like, oh, he could have maybe killed himself, but for me I'm just like, no.
どうしてユージは自殺しなかったの？なんでよ。
落ち着けチルチル。
Oh my god.
抱きつくな、うっとうしい。私は子供が嫌いなのよ。その当たり前のずうずうしさにイライラするから。
Don't.
言ってーのよ。殴んなよ。
Hey, 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 hey. No hitting Machina. She has no bully hitting policy.
話しなさいよ。
She can bully anyone she wants, but you can't bully her.
嫌だ。話したらどこ行く気なのよさ。絶対話さないのよ。
Keep her there, Machina. Keep her there.
こんな。
松島さん、
Oh God.
何よ。
Oh God.
逆に聞くけど、あなたはなぜ生きているの？
Oh. Oh.
それは。
単に自殺するのが怖かったから？それとも飲み続けた薬のおかげ？
そんなの考えたことないわ。
Fucking Yumiko just laying it down.
考えないわけないじゃない。あなたには一緒に考えてくれる人がいたんじゃない？ずっと一緒にいて支えてくれた人がいたんじゃない？
Mm-hmm.
した風なこと言わないでよ。
Bitch, Yumiko knows, understands us a lot more than we think.
そうね。私にはあなたがどんな風に感じてどう思ったかなんて分かりようがないわ。でもそれは風見くんも同じ。彼がどう考えてどう思ったかなんて私たちには分からない。風見くんには認めてくれる人間が必要だった。彼がどんなに無様な生き方をしようと、それを認めて褒めてくれる人が必要だった。
We did say we wanted to be praised.
それがどんなに悪人であったとしても。
Mm-hmm. Praise, support, even if it's from an evil person.
そんなの自殺よりひどい。逃げよ。
子供だったのよ、彼も。あなたの大嫌いなずうずうしい子供だった。それだけのことよ。
Hey, hey, hey! Well.
放っておきなさい。
でも
今あなたが追いかけても逆効果よ。そっとしておいてあげなさい。
チルチル。
God, that affected Michiru so much, but we know why, so.
大丈夫だよマキちゃん。後でちゃんと私がみちる様の様子を見に行ってくるから。今はね。
わかった。
But you might miss out on some super depressing story time.
ねえ榊さん、みちるはどうしてあんなに子供が嫌いなの？
彼女が嫌っているのは自分自身。無力な子供だった頃の自分が許せなくて嫌いなのよ。
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
そして自分がこんなに悩んでいるのに何も悩まずに甘えて生きている周りの同世代の子が許せなかった。そんなひがみを抱く自分にまた自己嫌悪する。風見くんの過去を見ていると、そんな昔の自分をまざまざと見せつけられるようでイライラするんでしょうね。でも風見くんは松島さんと違って強く生きる道を選ぶことができた。自分と風見くんの生き様の違いに納得ができなくてついカッとなった。そういうことよ。
冷静だね榊さんは。
She usually is.
私より先に松島さんが切れてくれて、その姿を客観的に見ることができたから冷静を保てているのよ。おかしな話だけれど、自分が一番かわいそうだと思っていたからこそなんとか生きてこれたという部分も少なからずあったのよね、私たちには。
Oh no. Oh God, more story time. Don't take me.
そう 当時のあなたは本当に謎の存在だったわ。
Don't take me. just let me.
体一つで身軽に現場に潜入。現場にあるもので標的を刺し殺すという共通の手段を用い、ほとんど痕跡を残さずに幽霊のように姿を消す。
That was my thing? I thought it was just gonna be that one time. Apparently that was my thing. Oh my god.
姿を消しては再び現れ仕事をこなす。結局私たちは1年近くあなたの正体をつかむことができなかった。当時試験運用が始まったばかりの新組織 SARS がヒースオスロの屋敷に突入して、そこであなたを発見するまではね。
Oh shit. Is this what we're gonna be seeing now? I think you probably know more about that side of things than I do, JB.
そうね。当時の私が記録した資料が残っているわ。
Oh god. I feel like I should. Yeah, I should. Oh, I want to keep going. But at the same time, I feel like this should be saved for next time. We're going in parts, guys. God, that was my MO. That was my thing. Jesus Christ. But hey, at least I'm doing that and not sticking around in that school. I mean, look, you try to think of some bright sides, and sometimes you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, really.